What up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Controversial Album Covers. This is episode number 30. So originally I had another record slated for today, but sadly, Gary Rosington, the last surviving member of the Leonard Skinner original lineup, passed yesterday. So in honor of him, I decided to do their only album, which is on our journey, and that is Street Survivors. Street Survivors was released on October 17th, 1977. 3 days later, on October 20th, after completing their fifth tour date on their tour, they boarded their Convair CV300 and headed to LSU Baton Rouge, Louisiana. However, they never made it because about 5 miles north of Gillsburg, Mississippi, the plane ran out of fuel and crashed in a forest. Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, Casey Gaines, assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, and both pilot and co-pilot were killed instantly on impact, and the rest of the crew and members survived but sustained serious injuries. Sadly, this could have been avoided because the plane was fraught with problems, both mechanical and crew-wise. Earlier in 1977, Aerosmith's management had looked at that exact plane because they were looking for a plane. And they absolutely said no, because they were completely and extremely unimpressed with the state of the condition of the plane and the pilots. And they said the pilots because what was the biggest deal breaker is they saw the pilot and the co-pilot pass a bottle of Jack Daniels back and forth in the cockpit. Seems like a bad thing for your pilot and co-pilot to be doing, but what do I know? I'm not a pilot. This apparently didn't seem to have any effect on Leonard Skinner's manager, who was Peter Rudge, because he did his inspection and paid him $15,000, and bada boom, bada bing, he had a plane. Now, we don't know for sure if he knew about this before or after the crash, but several days before the crash, that plane was on a flight to Greenville coming back from Florida, and the right engine backfired, which caused a stream of gasoline fire to shoot out 10 feet from the engine. They were fortunate enough to put the fire out and level the plane off, and it landed without incident, but we don't know for sure if there was any inspection or anything done because one of the survivors from the crash, Mark Frank, who was one of the roadies, said just before the crash he saw gasoline spewing out of the right engine, and then all of a sudden the engine stopped and the plane started jerking around. Now, it is believed that the pilot and the co-pilot at that point tried to transfer fuel from the right engine to the left engine, but somewhere, whether it was mechanical or pilot error, they ended up just dumping all the fuel, which caused the left engine to die, and that's what caused them to crash. While that sounds horrible, it probably saved the survivors' lives because they would have died in a fireball had they had fuel on the plane. That plane, no one liked the looks of that plane when they got it. One of the other survivors, Casey Gaines, who is backup singer and sister to Steve Gaines, said that she was hiding on the equipment truck because she didn't want to get on the plane, and then she's noted as saying that Van Zant ominously said to her, "Hey, if the Lord wants you to die on this plane when it's your time, let's go, man, we got a gig to do." Pretty shitty. So out of respect for the members, they switched the cover to this, No Flames. This was recently reissued. I don't know why. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. There are tons of conspiracy theories about this album and Ronnie Van Zant and everything, the Flames and all that, but most of it has been debunked, but it is what it is. It's unfortunate because they were a great band. We did get some songs, some great albums from them, so that's awesome, but it sucks. It does tell you, one of the other keys on this is the road manager, their manager Peter Rudge, who bought the plane, he didn't get on the plane. He booked himself a first-class ticket on a commercial airliner. So let that be a lesson to you children out there that are starting bands. If you get to a point where you need an airplane, don't cheap out on the airplane and don't cheap out on the pilots. And if your manager doesn't get on your plane, don't get on that plane either. That's another episode. However, I do want to address one thing. I do have one person that had mentioned all I do is general rock, and when am I going to get to the good stuff? Okay, first of all, I don't know what you could possibly mean by good stuff. What you think is good is not what I think is good, is not what the next person thinks is good. I don't know what you think is good. Second of all, I've literally done 8 of these episodes so far. I have over 200 records to do, probably like 220. So yeah, there's going to be some generic stuff in here. If you're not liking what I'm giving you, go find somewhere else. But if you're looking for the weird stuff, if you're looking for women masturbating on the cover, suicide victims, racist covers, and murder, then yeah, they're coming down the pike. Just sit down, relax, and keep your pants on. We'll get there. See you next time. Later.